All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. What is good? What is going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody, hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to Jaden. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. We also got King Nirvana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very good to see you guys. So you may have seen some news. It's long been talked about that Trump, well, either from the left, that saying that Trump was definitely going to try for a third term, or even that from the right itself, and now from Trump himself, that he's interested in a third term. So I wanted to talk about this as it got a little bit more serious today than it ever has before. Again, it's always been out there, but it's always been a kind of, yeah, that's just one of those things that he says. But he talked to NBC and he was like, no, I'm not, I don't know if he said I'm not joking or I'm not serious. We'll take a look at the video. But I want to talk to you guys about it because I think it is a terrible idea. I think it's really bad. Unless it is some sort of 4D chess where he's talking about this, we can get that, and he get that, and he get that. He's fooled me before. He's fooled me before in being able to say one thing and get something else that he always wanted to happen. He's fooled me before, but I'm going to take him at face value, given the context, and think that he is genuinely trying for a third term. So generally what the discussion is that the 25th, 22nd, whatever amendment says you can only be elected, you cannot be elected more than 2 terms. But it says the word specifically elected. And so if someone like JD Vance were to run with Trump as his VP and then step down legally, Trump would be able to get another presidency. And I do not think that is a good idea. Let's see what you guys are saying before we jump into the video. James said, wait, so you're saying you hate Trump now? Not at all. I absolutely love Trump, which is exactly why I don't want him to ruin his legacy and ruin anything that is close to his name. The fact is that Trump built MAGA. Trump built MAGA, but he is not MAGA. And that's what everybody outside of MAGA thinks, that it's just one big cult and Daddy Trump is our leader. And we know that's not the case, but it's very hard to, to put that out there when we're trying to not subvert the Constitution, but at least the spirit of the Constitution. So, no, I absolutely do not hate Trump at all. Trump is the best. He knows what we want from him, and will fix everything. I swear, Kamala run. Yeah, we don't need to worry about Kamala. He is the best president we ever had. Completely agreed. James said, I want him to run another term. No, I don't. So as I just explained, it is about all of that. Shout out to Michael. Welcome to the party. Said MAGA will not vote a third term and allow future communists to do this. Another very important point here, that, okay, if this is how we're going to read the amendment, that you can only be elected twice, well, then guess what? The next time that the Democrats win, that's it. That's it. They have way more, even now, they have more power in the establishment. They have better marketing. They have more cohesion. And so for the same reasons that we didn't want the Democrats didn't want Joe Biden to pack the Supreme Court, for the reason that when Trump or whatever Republican got in next, he could do the same thing. We don't want to set this precedent because then, if he does lose, then we may never see the end of the Democrats' reign. And that may be the only way that they could get back in office. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party. Welcome. So we aren't even done with the first year of the second term. So I don't know if we should wish away the years for a third term. I disagrey. I disagree. I think regardless of what happens over the next 3 years, I do not want to see Trump running again. I was going to say, I think MAGA will go for a MAGA-based candidate. Trump is fun, but it'll be time for someone new. Exactly. Shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. So we've built MAGA into a force that lives on past Trump. Exactly. I am glad that you guys are with me. And a shout out to our boy Nick Lou Ketty in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Always, always a pleasure to see you, moderated to the stars, here with us tonight. So a shout out to veteran biker, who we are going to be checking out this video where he goes over and aggregated some clips and stuff. He's a little bit more gung-ho about it than I am, but we will talk about it. So as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Welcome back, guys. If you thought the Democrat Party was in panic mode, you have seen nothing yet. Donald Trump is playing them like a fiddle. Welcome back, Patriots. Buckle up, because we're diving into a political bombshell rocking the nation. Donald Trump just dropped a hint that he's eyeing a third term in 2028. The liberal left is losing their minds. Now, you might be
like, okay, that's fun. That's nice. We always love to see the libs crying. But is that really the biggest thing here? The libs have been crying. I think we're good there.
Wait, is that against the Constitution? Not so fast, guys. The 22nd Amendment limits a president to 2 terms, but some legal scholars argue there's a loophole. Trump could run again if he skips a term. He's got.
So that's just dumb and wrong, because that already happened. Or maybe skipping running, but no, it's the text of the 20. So let's pull that up. The 22nd Amendment says no person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice. Oh, no, don't define. But yeah, no person should be elected to the office of president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term which some other person was elected shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. So again, we have elected. So he cannot legally be elected, but he can legally be back in the White House and in the presidency. So that, I don't know what that was, but that's the big thing. As you can see, it's elected. And so if he's not elected to be the president, there's many other ways to be the president, namely being the VP. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said too much of a big ask. Agreed. The accusations of him being a dictator would actually start to look true. Exactly. Completely agree. And guys, don't forget to hit our poll. Would a Trump third term be good for America? Right now, no is ahead with a good 50% of you, but some people are saying yes, some people are saying not sure. And I'm with Guantech here. I do not think it is a good idea. Jaden said he could run again, but I want him to. But at the same time, I don't, because more people, I feel like, will vote for Trump. I don't know what that means. Let's dive back in here.
Got the MAGA base fired up to test it. Cue the meltdowns from the Democrats, all the tears, the crying, all the sobbing, the makeup's running, even on the dudes.
All right, that was a good one. But again, like, if that's what you're here for, all right, cool, great. They're crying, but perhaps for good reason.
And total panic about they scream, this is the end of democracy. But here's the kicker. Trump's playing them like a fiddle while the left spirals over his third term tease.
So if he's playing them like a fiddle, then what is the actual thing what's the actual ask? Or not the actual ask. That's the ask for a third term. But what's the actual goal? What does he actually want that he's playing them?
Quietly setting the stage for his real agenda. Stick around as we unpack how the Don is outsmarting them all. And we'll just call it the art of the deal. Guys, I got multiple clips. The Democrat Party is freaking out. Let's check this out right here. Watch Kristen Welker lose her mind.
President Trump called me this morning. We discussed a range of topics, including the possibility of him serving a third term. He's joked about it.
I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure.
But
I'm not surprised that, like, no shade, but I'm not surprised that there are a lot of people like, oh yeah, it's about the Dems. Oh yeah, it's about Trump. But that's the stereotype. That's the low-hanging fruit. Don't be like that. Because if you understand exactly what M169 said, where is it? Trump may have started MAGA by being Trump, but we have built MAGA to be bigger than that. And so when we say, oh, we need Trump, it's undercutting our value to MAGA and to America. Kings, I would hope he's just messing with for the lulz. I mean, maybe, and it's always possible. And like I said, it wouldn't be the first time that he's come out with something and he's been thinking 10 steps ahead, and I'm just caught up with it at face value. So I'm open to that, but it doesn't really seem like that. And from some of the other clips that we'll see, I don't think so. And when that seemed to be the case, that he was just, oh, well, maybe I'll be there for a third term. Who knows? Like, I was right there, like, yeah. But now that it seems like he's serious, I don't like it at all. And so what I'm talking about is that I want him to run again, but at the same time, I don't. And since the Dems are prancing, it means there could be more people voting for him if he runs again. I don't know what pantsing means, but I don't agree. I think a lot of the movement that we saw from either non-voters or people who voted left, who ended up voting for Trump, the big thing was voting against the Democrats, against Kamala, against the establishment, against all that stuff. So I don't agree. I think a lot of people were like, okay, well, we got Kamala out of the way. We don't need you anymore, Trump. And then they pick a quote unquote common sense Democrat that can, whether or not they're lying, can actually make it seem like they're a normal person. I think that's not a good move. Shout out to Steven. Welcome to the party. Said I'm not American, but it won't be good. I agree. Welcome to the party.
Next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure.
But these were his most extensive comments yet. He told me he's not joking. He said there are methods by which you could do it, but he said it's far too early to think about it. He said he's focused on his current job.
So that is where, when King saying, maybe he's just saying it, I don't know if he would do it just for the wall, but he'd be, it would be in service of some other goal. If that's the case, then totally fine. But again, it seems a little bit more than that. Steven said part of his voter base didn't want family politics and oligarchs. That works in developing countries that need stability, not major power. Well said. Shout out to Jay McGee. Welcome to the party. Said Trump is not just a presidency, it's a movement. I won't disagree with you, but I will say that movement is not the same thing as the MAGA movement, or at least not the same as the America First movement, which is what I care about. So as long as MAGA and America First are winning, if that means no more Donald Trump after this term, I am totally fine with that, because we as MAGA do not need Donald Trump anymore. He was the trailblazer, he was the pioneer, and nobody can ever take that away from him. He is the best president of my lifetime, and probably anybody who has the ability to watch this. But that doesn't mean that a third term is a good thing. Welcome to the party.
Do it, but he said it's far too early to think about it. He said he's focused on his current job. At the same time, I did press him on those methods. There's been some discussion about the possibility of Vice President J.D. Vance running perhaps at the top of the ticket, with President Trump running in the number 2 slot and then swapping if they were to win. President Trump telling me that is a method. He said there are other methods. I asked if he could give me details, and he said flatly, no.
None of your business.
Now, President Trump's allies have said that they are seriously looking at this.
We're working on there. We're not prepared to talk about it publicly, but in a couple of months, I think we will be.
Here's what you need to know.
That's what I was talking about. I think last week at some point, he was talking, that was Steve Bannon. He was talking to Chris Cuomo, and Chris Cuomo was like, I know you're not a crazy guy. I know it says in the Constitution you can't do this, but he wants to do this, right? And Bannon was like, yep, basically, we're working on ways to do it. Exactly what you just heard. Guys, if you do me a favor, really quick, hit that like button. It would help out so very, very much.
No, though, it is incredibly complicated to change the Constitution. Serving a third term is prohibited by the Constitution.
And again, it says elected, so no change would be needed. Again, there, if you didn't see it before, the 22nd Amendment, no person shall be elected. Where am I? Yeah, no person should be elected to the office of president more than twice, so on and so forth. And then at the end, again, it uses the word elected. I'm sure, yeah, was elected president, shall be elected more than once. So he can't be elected, but JD Vance could be elected with Donald Trump as his VP, and then he could step aside. Oh my goodness! Shout out to Dr. Evil Genius with the $50. My goodness. Thank you so very much. And of course, you guys know every donation comes with a treat for Morty. The $50. Thank you so very, very much. Dr. Evil Genius running his own channel, the Talking Shit podcast. Definitely go check that out. What has Dr. Evil Genius said? Thanks for covering this topic. We have some spirited discussions behind the scenes, but it's all love. I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I mean, I put a community tab post the other day that was about deportees for Trump. And, I was like, well, obviously Trump was the better choice between him and Kamala. But it's clear that, he was talking about deporting people. So if you're an illegal or illegals in your family, especially criminals or people that we were talking about deporting, why would you want to vote for Trump? And, my thing was just saying, I think that Trump was the better choice. Putting that aside, if you have illegals in your family or you are an illegal, why would you vote for the guy who wants to get rid of you, even though he's better for America? Maybe you just care that much about America. I don't know. I didn't get any clear answers, but if anybody has illegals in their family that are in jeopardy of being deported and you voted for Trump, let me know. Thank you so very, very much. Of course, that makes you the sponsor of the stream. Welcome to the party. If you stick around, I would love for you to hop on up. We can talk about it. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Nick, so the Democrats don't need to be given a reason to feel justified in cheating more than they already do. Exactly. Shout out to Carolina Girl. Welcome to the party. So technically it wouldn't be his second term. He spent most of his first term in court battles instead of being allowed to enact his policies. Kind of true, but the law is the law. And that's the interesting part of this, is that because the language is so clear and says elected, it's surprising that this hasn't really come up before. I mean, maybe it has, but certainly not to this level. And it's just, again, it's not a good precedent, because if the Democrats ever win again, why wouldn't they want to do the same thing? That don't make no sense. All right, let's dive back in here. Thank you again, Dr. Evil Genius, sponsoring the stream.
Complicated
And of course, getting us started on that swole gold. Check out the top of the chat to support getting me bulked up. Thank you.
The Constitution. Serving a third term is prohibited by the Constitution. So this is something that would be far out of reach by any measure. And again, President Trump insisting for right now, he's focused on his current job.
Oh, boy. Guys, if you thought the Democrat Party hated Trump before, today's news, this was on Meet the Depressed. Now, that one thing that she didn't do was actually share the audio of the call. Got a little comment up right here. Would you vote for Trump in 2028? If you would, just type a yes, type Trump 2028. I think I'm going to start rolling out Trump 2028 t-shirts.
Now, don't get me wrong. If all of this goes down and we end up with Trump as the president again, I'm certainly not going to cry about it. I just think there's way better options. I will not be mad I will be mad if this happens. But I mean, worse things can happen. I just think not very many. Shout out to Steven. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya.
Just to trigger the left. Guys, it gets better. It gets absolutely better. The media on the left is freaking out, guys. I love this. I love it. Check this out.
And the second new headline, President Trump saying he would not rule out seeking a third term as president, telling NBC News there are several methods to accomplish this. Also new today, and the second...
Multiple methods to accomplish it,
That's the
guys.
clip.
The left is in full panic. Full panic. Watch this.
And so it doesn't surprise me that if you're on the left and you see something like this guy just going like, oh yeah, Trump, who cares about the rules? Just Trump, yeah. I could totally understand why you would be afraid of that being the entire base. But as you can see, a lot of us here, or at least half of us here, are just straight up like, no. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. Sunday Night Live, indeed. Usually this would be a members only stream, but it's too big to do that. You guys understand. It's good. Caroline girl said, gotta admit, the triggering is hilarious. Of course it is. There's no two ways about that. Anytime the left gets triggered, it's great. But that doesn't mean that they're completely off base, right?
Yes. I just can't get enough of this, guys. I can't get enough of it.
CPAC to be president. A lot of people were surprised by this. My first question, you have anything to do with putting your name in that list because you have presidential ambitions?
No. And President Trump, I'm a firm believer that President Trump will run and win again in 2028. So I've already endorsed President Trump. A man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
And so now we have even more conflicting messaging saying that Steve Bannon saying that he is going to run. Confused messaging and perception of a dictator. Not great for MAGA.
And obviously, anybody who doesn't like what you say, but judges it as a function of a lack of intelligence, doesn't know anything about you. I don't make that mistake. You're a smart guy. He's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
We're working on it. I think we'll have a couple of alternatives. Let's say that. We'll see. We'll see what the definition. We'll see what the definition of term limit is.
All right.
Again, that's a very different messaging than, hey, there's a loophole in the amendment and we can do this. That's a very different message.
Well, so you're talking about litigating this issue, because I don't want people to listen to our interview and say Bannon's cooking up an insurrection. Bannon is cooking up. You know what I mean? I want people to get a straight take on where your head is. What are you suggesting?
Chris, as you know.
So Carolina girl is saying Trump is keeping them focused on this for a reason. So this is the one thing when I was a never Trumper that people would say this kind of stuff. I'd be like, cope harder. But then he would do exactly the thing that I never was expecting, or he would, get the exact goal that he wanted. So I'm open to the fact that he's just saying this to keep people focused on this so that they're not focused on something else. But I'm going to need to see what that is before I'm actually going to put any weight on it. I'm hoping this is the case. I'm hoping. I don't know. I genuinely do not know.
I've had greater long shots than this. When we supported President Trump after the election, I realized you don't
look at that image right there in the Oval Office. You got Steve Bannon, you got General Mike Flynn, and you got the Trumpinator. Steve Bannon knows exactly which buttons to push.
believe the election.
These are the types of dudes that the normal people in MAGA are like, bro, why are you making us look so bad? Like, that's all you care about? Just, oh yeah, these are my guys. They're so cool. I got their action figures. Like, grow up, dude.
Election of 2020 are stolen. We do. We fervently believe that. When President Trump went back to Mar-a-Lago on January 20th, 2021, he was the longest of long shots to return to the White House. We said that day in our podcast and doubled down, having President Trump's back, that he was coming back not just to win the primary, he would win the White House, and we had to get organized and drive that victory, and also start working on all the policies, what's called Project 2025. Or
guys, do you think this is possible? Is this a reality, or is this Donald Trump just playing them like a fiddle? I think this has legs. And I think
for what though? You're not giving us anything that you think like this is happening because that. What is the thing that's happening? And this is the sycophant nature that gives MAGA a bad name. So let's switch over to this guy who is definitely not happy about it, coming from the other direction.
Earlier this morning, Donald Trump has confirmed a terrifying but predictable bombshell that he is interested in seeking a constitutionally forbidden third.
And of course, whenever we watch a video, we hit that like button because we're not assholes.
Term in office, and has even considered strategies and methods on how to do so. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, quote, not joking about a third term, adding that, quote, it's far too early to think about it. Not exactly comforting. Trump did not rule out the possibility of seeking a third term in the White House, which is prohibited by the Constitution under the 22nd Amendment, saying in an exclusive interview with NBC News that there were methods for doing so and clarifying that he was, quote, not joking.
Exactly, Nick. He's always got something up his sleeve. He's always got something up his sleeve. The question is, does he have that right now? And if so, what? Because it has to be something worth, shifting the narrative to make him seem worse. Because even if he is just saying this, there's a lot of people like the last guy we just watched who are out there like, yeah, let's go third term. Let's go third term. And that you can't put that back in the bottle. You can't put that back in the bottle. Any film. So the only reason that anybody is talking about this is the giant troll to mess with the left. Maybe, but then why does he keep giving it more and more and more validity? Again, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But like Nick said, we just don't know what it could be. And so at this point, you can't assume that. You have to just take it for what it is, and they are talking about legal theories and the actual letter of the law and all that stuff. That doesn't sound like just trolling. So I'm ready to believe it, but I need to see some evidence first.
Quote, a lot of people want me to do it, Trump said in a Sunday morning phone call with NBC News, referring to his allies. Quote, but I mean, I basically tell them we have a long way to go. It's very early in the administration. Quote, I'm focused on the current, Trump added in some of his most extensive comments to date about serving a third term. When asked about whether he wanted another term, Trump said, quote, I like working. I'm not joking, Trump said when asked to clarify. Quote, but I'm not, it's far too early to think about it. When asked whether he has been presented with plans to allow him to seek a third term, Trump said, quote, there are methods which you could do it. NBC News asked about a possible scenario in which Vice President J.D. Vance would run for office and then pass the role to Trump. Trump responded with, quote, that's one method.
That's one method. So again, we're getting mixed messages here. Caroline Girl said, maybe to set a precedent, to set a standard. What exactly do you mean by that? What standard would he be setting?
Quote, but there are others too, Trump added. Asked to share another method, Trump simply responded, no. According to the Constitution, to abolish the two-term limit would be exceedingly difficult, requiring either a 2/3 vote of Congress or 2/3 of the states agreeing to call a constitutional convention to propose changes. Either route would then require ratification from 3/4 of the states. Trump pointed to his poll numbers, saying that, quote, a lot of people would like me to run for a third term. Of course, he's historically unpopular. He's had the shortest presidential polling honeymoon in recorded history. And
how are people feeling about him right now? Well, I mean, before this news. The other question. So, if I can guess as to what you're alluding to, is setting the standard of how the left will react to this. Is that what you mean? Because I can see that there would be, a plan to show how the politicians don't really understand that, it says this, and technically, if they wanted to go with JD as president and Trump as VP, that wouldn't technically be wrong, but they would still want to block it. Maybe something along those lines, but again, I need to see a lot more than before I can believe anything like that is going on.
And I'm not sure where he's getting this from, although I have no doubt that a disturbing number of Republicans would support this. Trump has previously commented on running for a third term in office, though Republicans have seen these comments as jokes or Trump trolling his critics, which, by the way, I have a problem with that. For a few reasons.
Of course you do.
Number one, there's nothing wrong with the president, any president, Republican or Democrat, having a sense of humor. President Reagan, Ronald Reagan, was well known for his sense of humor, and he was a Republican, a terrible president, and a Republican.
I was going to say, you love Reagan then. So you love Reagan then. Like, oh my God. This is why we don't want to fan the flames. That's a good point. When Biden was in office, when we were, down bad, that's one thing. To just be inflaming tensions, to just get more attention on the movement and the base and all that kind of stuff. Now things have shifted. Now we've got some shit to lose. Public opinion fucking matters, and this is not good for anything else that he wants to do, unless it's in direct, it's a direct plan in something. Dr. Virginia said, I don't like Trump and Harris even less. I'm only now getting mad at Trump because he's trying to force people like me to buy shitty American cars instead of better ones like Porsche. He's not forcing you. It's just going to be more expensive. Blame that on Europe. Get rid of all the tariffs, and then we're all good.
President Reagan, Ronald Reagan, was well known for his sense of humor, and he was a Republican, a terrible president and a Republican, but he was entitled to a sense of humor.
Right, exactly, Dr. Virginius. Why do you think we added tariffs? Because they were tariffing us. So why are we going to let them tariff us and not tariff them back? Then the American car market goes up, and then all the prices come down. Blame it on Europe.
Known for his sense of humor, and he was a Republican, a terrible president and a Republican, but he was entitled to a sense of humor. But then he would clarify when things are joking. If Trump said, I'm going to run for a third term, and then said he was joking, I have a pretty wide sense of humor, and I'd be more permissible with that. But Trump never clarified.
No, you wouldn't.
He said he's joking, and he and his supporters take
He absolutely does. You're going to tell me that, I don't know, but you're going to tell me this dude didn't run along with the, I'm going to be a dictator just on day one. You didn't have any problem. You didn't say anything about that. All right, I didn't see it. I don't know who this guy is. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to assume that he got mad at the day one joke.
actions which indicate that he's not joking. And the words of a president matters. Piers Morgan, if you're watching, please be sure to like and subscribe. But this idea that, focus on what he says, what he does, not what he says. Well, the problem is that the words of the most powerful man on earth matter. And they'd matter to you, Piers Morgan, and conservatives and centrists, if it were Democrats saying this shit, which means you are, in my opinion, morally and ethically obligated to be consistent in your principles, and means you should be bothered when Trump does it. If you're
projection, I am, sir. That's why we're here. Dilly dilly. I'm sure conservatives won't have any values. Okay, dude.
You're not bothered when Trump does it, then I don't ever want to hear any of you bitch about anything a Democratic president ever says ever again. Because we can just say, well, it doesn't matter. Look at their actions. Of course, you would never agree to that standard, which means
I would definitely agree to that standard because Democrats are great at talking. Horrible at policy. But
you're unprincipled hypocrites, right, who grade Trump on a curve. But I digress. Words matter.
Projection. Dilly dilly. Carolina girl said, very hard for me to communicate myself through my keyboard. I'm a talker. I hear you. But it's just as tough to try to read without that tone of voice. Yep, a projection. Nick said, words do matter. That's why we didn't like Biden saying all the dumbass things he did. Exactly. And let's take away all of the words. Let's just take Biden and Trump. Take away everything they've ever said and just look at what they do. I think Trump wins.
Never agreed to that standard, which means you're unprincipled hypocrites, right, who grade Trump on a curve. But I digress. Words matter, especially when they come from powerful people, especially when they come from the most powerful people. So
yeah. So Elon's the unelected president, but also Trump is a dictator. Make it make sense.
Let's get back to it. Representative Andy Ogles from Tennessee crafted a resolution calling for the extension of presidential term limits, which would allow Trump to seek another term in office. And indeed, he did. We've covered this in previous videos. This moron here, this dipshit loser here, who should be made fun of for the rest of his life, give President Trump a third term. Andy Ogles proposes amending the 22nd Amendment to allow Trump to serve a third term. There's also a guy who wants to rename Dulles Airport after
you mad, bro?
Donald Trump as well. So the cultishness is strong, not just in the Republican base, but among Republican elected officials.
It's interesting because, again, when I was a never Trumper, I unfortunately voted for Hillary in 2016. I learned my lesson. But I didn't know any better. And at the time, I already was saying things like, guys, we don't need to lie about Trump and blow things out of proportion. We already hate Trump. We already can see these things. All we have to do is report, look, Trump did this, Trump said that, and then everybody will automatically hate him. And look where I ended up with that mentality. It's just you're doing too much. You're doing too much. We already agree that this is bad. When you're adding in all this editorialization, it shows that you don't really care about this. You're just taking a victory lap.
Also, the cultishness is strong, not just in the Republican base, but among Republican elected officials.
Unlike the Democrats.
It's hard not to take this seriously. Meanwhile, Trump ally Steve Bannon said in an interview on News Nation that he believes Trump will, quote, run and win again in 2028. Bannon said,
and what did I say about mixed messaging?
In the same interview that he thought, quote, we'll still have a couple of alternatives in determining how Trump could seek a third term despite the 2-term maximum for holding the presidency. The White House has amplified Trump's comments, likening himself to royalty, posting a picture of a fake magazine cover depicting the president with a crown after the administration shot down congestion pricing in New York City. The White House's post to X quoted Trump's previous comments on Truth Social, long live King.
I mean, I will say that if there ever was to be a president that I supported that would do something like this, Trump is the guy because of the fact that he always has been that guy that's, made the big ask or, said these wild things. He didn't really mean it. And it was just about the reaction. Again, I think there's more weight to this than a lot of those other things, which is not okay, but doesn't mean it's not funny. Doesn't mean it's not funny to watch him squirm. Dr. Virginia said, gotta go, but keep doing your thing, bro. It's important that we stick together, especially when we don't agree. And we certainly do not agree on parts of this subject. Thank you very, very much for stopping by, brother. You have a good one. Let's dive back in here.
The White House's post to X quoted Trump's previous comments on Truth Social, long live King. So yes, Trump says he's interested in a third term.
Yeah.
He's not joking when he says he's interested in it. He says that he has methods and strategies that he's contemplated or have been presented to him by those who have contemplated them. And so they're seriously thinking about it. But he says it's too early in this administration to really give it a lot of thought right now. Clearly, thought has been put into it, not just by Trump, but by Republican lawmakers. And Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. Now, it's not just that. We had a poll about this back in late February. 52% say Trump will try to serve a third term. Okay.
I guess they were right.
As The Hill reported, 52% of Americans said Trump will try to serve a third term.
I would have said that.
According to a poll from YouGov. When asked if they believe Trump will attempt to serve a third term in his current role, 21% of respondents said definitely, and 31% said probably. So, majority of Americans think that he will try to do it. Another poll asked, does Donald Trump want to be king? Do you think that Donald Trump wants to be king of the United States? 49% said yes. 37% said no.
I mean, I would, does he want to be king? Yeah. I want to be king. Who doesn't want to be king? That's a very different thing than willing to go through the whole process. But again, here we are.
And I'm thinking of President Washington, right? Who I've said is my favorite president. I think the general historical rankings have it right. Washington is the best, followed by Lincoln. Although, actually, I shouldn't say that. In more polls than not, Lincoln ranks even higher than President.
I will say, Carolina girl, the Discord does not work great on Chromebooks. That's my biggest annoyance with my Chromebook because I have I have this laptop, but for watching TV, I have my Chromebook set up connected to my TV. And I would love to be, because I'm watching, whether I'm watching, podcasts or YouTube or just movies and TV and stuff, I would love to be able to share more of it. But it's just too much of a hassle to get my this laptop out and do all that stuff. But to go through Discord. So, I mean, you can use Discord on a Chromebook, but if that's all you have, it's going to be much, much easier on your phone. And you are far from the only person who is not super familiar with Discord. So if you ever do get there, we are more than happy to help you out. Right, Indie Film? I had to beg Indie Film. You Gen X boomer-minded motherfuckers. Oh, it's a new computer thing. I don't know how to do it. No, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, if you if you get it to work on your phone or something else, and this goes for anybody, we can definitely help you out. Don't feel bad if you're not familiar with it. Just come on and join us. Hit the link and see what's good. It is pinned at the top of the chat.
Lincoln, although actually I shouldn't say that. In more polls than not, Lincoln ranks even higher than President Washington. But the reason I would give Washington the nod, even over President Lincoln, is because of Washington's relationship with power. Is just something like we've just never seen anything like it. He was the only president to be unanimously elected and I think reelected by the Electoral College. He could have served for life. As a matter of fact, during the Revolutionary War, President Washington, then General Washington's top lieutenants came to him and reportedly said that they would help him overthrow the Continental Congress and basically set himself up as king. And he is reported to have said, "Do you think I led the war against George III?"
All right, what's your point here, pal? So actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let him finish these numbers, but I am actually going to drop the link for anyone because I really would like to hear from you guys. Maybe you will agree or disagree or whatever it is. Click that Discord link now because I'm about to pin this. Come join the panel. I just do ask that you cam up. If I know you, then we maybe can make an exception. I just ask that you use the same name that you are using on YouTube, so I don't have some random person with no picture back here. But yeah, come on up and yeah, right. This guy. Oh man, you. I was going to say, yeah, so come on up and let me know what you think about all this. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Why is it a good thing? Why is it a bad thing? Let's hear from you.
That is superhuman. It's extraordinary. Contrast that with Donald Trump. 50% of Americans like, yeah, he wants to be king. Interesting. Do you think that Trump should be the king of the United States? Only 7%.
Well, there you go. Exactly. A very different question. So most people are aware of the fact that Donald Trump wants to be king and still voted for him to be the highest office in the land. So they obviously don't think it's going to be that bad. So even if this does go down, I don't think it will be good in the long term. But we can't say that Trump being in office is a bad thing.
Which is about 7% too high. But 84% say no. Yet most Americans recognize that that is an ambition he has. As The Independent reports, why plans are already in motion for a Trump third term, no matter what the law says. When Trump took the oath of office again, it was the last time he'd be able to do so under the country's constitution. But that hasn't stopped his team from flirting with the idea of running again.
That's not true. Elected. And
Democrats are nowhere to be seen. Let's see. The safeguard of the two-term president
emerged. What are you skipping over there, pal? What are you skipping over?
In direct response to Franklin Delano Roosevelt's unprecedented four-term presidency during the 30s and 40s. Before Roosevelt, the informal precedent set by President Washington, stepping down after 2 terms, had been respected by every president. Today, the 22nd Amendment leaves little room for interpretation. Quote, no person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term, which some other person was elected president, shall be elected.
So we can talk about the goodness and the badness, but what we can argue about, we can, but what's not in debate is the legality of the VP plan. That if he goes and he's the VP and the president steps down and he becomes president, that is not illegal. He has not been elected to that office.
To the office of president more than once. Earlier this year, again, it goes into what Congressman Ogles has attempted to do. Quote, well, excuse me, that was a quote from Ogles. I don't want to rot my brain. It certainly wouldn't.
I don't want to say any. Let's see. Hold on. What did you skip past?
No, excuse me.
He has proven himself to be the only figure in modern history capable of reversing our nation's decay and restoring America to greatness. And he must be given the time necessary to accomplish that goal. To that end, I am proposing an amendment to the Constitution to reverse the limitations imposed by the 22nd Amendment on presidential terms. This amendment would allow Trump to serve 3 terms, ensuring that we can sustain the bold leadership our nation so desperately needs. And again, I don't disagree with the core of that, but optics matter, opinions matter, and it's just not going to play out that way. Yeah, right. Not that to be the nominee, 0. To be the president, like 15.
That was a quote from Ogles. I don't want to rot my brain. It certainly wouldn't surprise constitutional law professor Michelle Goodwin.
Weren't you the guy who just said that words matter and words of people in power matter? But we're just going to skip over it because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Okay, dude. I
don't want to rot my brain. It certainly wouldn't surprise constitutional law professor Michelle Goodwin if Trump actively did try to seek a third term by any means necessary. Quote, there's already been a display of lawlessness in the executive orders and other actions taken by the Trump administration, she said. Indeed, Goodwin, a professor from Georgetown Law, says Trump is making history for things that are anti-democratic and anti-constitutional, and goes into the example of birthright citizenship that he tried to abolish via executive order. Let's see. Other legal scholars have dismissed
What are you skipping again, bro? What are you skipping? What are we skipping?
of birthright citizenship that he tried to abolish via executive.
Other legal scholars have dismissed the idea of running for a third term as impossible. I wonder why he didn't want to read that. Other legal scholars have dismissed the idea of running for a third term as impossible, but for Trump's most ardent supporters, constitutional roadblocks have rarely been a concern. In fact, the mere suggestion that he might seek to extend his grip on power has already energized his base. And I don't think that's a good thing.
Let's see. Other legal scholars have dismissed the idea of running for a third term as impossible, but for Trump's most ardent supporters, constitutional roadblocks have rarely been a concern. In fact, the mere suggestion that he might seek to extend his grip on power has already energized the base. Goodwin says the Trump administration is moving in coercive ways into legal spaces.
Let's see what he's skipping. This is what? The Independent? All right, so we got Trump, third term, The Independent. That's not how you spell that. Did we get the this was the same article he used, right? Trump says he's not joking. I think so, right? Yeah, so as Trump said, I'm not looking at that. I'll tell you, people asked me for a third term, which in a way is a fourth term because the other election was rigged. I just don't want the credit for the second one. Biden was so bad. That's funny. I think I'm popular because we've done a great job. I think we've had the best 100 days of almost any president. Most people are saying that it's an honor. It's an honor bringing back our country. We're respected as a country again. We're strongly respected, and people are amazed. Asked about the constitutional limits he faced, he said, "I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you. I have had more people saying, please run again. We have a long way to go, but I've had a lot of people." So, as the idea of running as a vice president in an advance campaign and having power handed to him as the 12th Amendment says, no person constitutionally ineligible for the office of president shall be eligible for that of the vice president of the United States. Okay, I did not know that. That's important. I did not know that. So the JD thing wouldn't work. That's what they would have to amend. Now that's actually I like that because of the fact that I don't want this to happen. I like that there's going to be a bigger hurdle, and hopefully that will push them back. Because if they really do go try to change the Constitution, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Michael said, I really think ultimately that Trump won't attempt this running in advance because the fallout will cause more harm to the MAGA movement than his third term would help. Completely agree. But yeah, I was here. I can zoom this in a little bit. But yeah, I was not aware that it specifically stated no person constitutionally ineligible for the office of president shall be eligible to that of the vice president. So such a plan would depend on Vance being elected in his own right and then choosing to give up power to Trump, who would by then be in his 80s. Another great point. Old AF. Those supporting this theory could argue that it does not flout the terms of the 22nd Amendment, which talks about limits on how many terms a president can serve or be elected to, not how many they can serve. That's what I was saying before, but I think I was wrong. However, such a move would be sure to trigger a constitutional dispute, with others arguing that it flew in the face of the principles of the amendment and was hardly a proper way for the United States to choose a leader. And it's hard to disagree with that. It's hard to disagree with that. It's just not a good look. And as Michael's saying, even if he was in power, like he's already done what we need him to do. He's done the shakeup. The shakeup has occurred. Why? What else do we need you for? If I'm being frank. Shout out to Darian, said, if he gets a third term, do you think he'll allow someone else to have a third term? Or are we just going to let Trump be president until the day he dies? What if the next president is someone MAGA doesn't like? Then what? Exactly. This is we have this process, and, there's been many issues with the voting itself, but I don't think any of us are in the position of the way that we elect a president should be completely overhauled. It just doesn't. There's just it's things aren't bad enough. Things aren't bad enough. Because here's the other aspect. If you're saying America needs me to run again, and it's only 2 months into my second term, are you telling me that your second term is the rest of your second term is going to be that bad? Like, we're already in a way better place in just 2 months. You've got almost the entire term left. I thought it was so easy that you could fix all these things and do all these deals. But now we need you for another 4 years? I thought you were making America great again, and then we can continue with America being great. It doesn't flow. It doesn't flow. Carolina Girl said, what I meant earlier is maybe he means to point out loopholes, rile up the left, and concrete the 2 terms. Just a thought, though. I hope so. Like I said, I hope so. Anyfilm said he can be appointed as Speaker of the House by Congress, then be third in line. Then whoever the president and vice president can both resign, and that would make him president. However, he's just trolling the left with these comments. But what makes you say that, other than the ridiculousness of it all? I mean, how ridiculous was it for him to run in the first place? He did that. I don't know, man. I'm just saying it's not as easy. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things where you can say, obviously he's joking. And, we have this guy be like, well, it's usually, I have a sense of humor. When Donald Trump is saying this, then we all know it's a joke. No, the fuck you didn't know it was a joke. But I'm right there. I know it. I'm one of those. It's like, guys, clearly he was joking with that. Take him seriously. Don't take him literally. He's giving us nothing that would lead us to believe that this is all just talk. At least up until last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when the last time this came up, but he was talking about this in a not a joking manner, but in a Trump way, where it's like, we don't really know if you're serious, but we could probably just push it off until there's something that makes us think that you're serious. Well, guess what? Something's come out that makes us think that he's serious. Trump's been talking about running for president for over 30 years. Okay, but like, okay, what do you mean? What is the point here? That it's not a new idea? Like, that's not what I'm saying. There's a shout out to Box. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you, sir. We also got Brandon Murphy. Welcome. Said Trump's just telling the truth how it is, and that people need to realize what's going on in our society and rid the corrupt system right and left. But that's beyond me. What do you mean he's telling the truth? He's saying what he wants, and then he's saying he's going to do it. So you're saying you do think he's going to go through with it, or what do you? What I'm not fully sure what that means.
Goodwin says the Trump administration is moving in coercive ways into legal spaces.
Hold on.
Moving coercive ways into legal spaces.
When people feel threatened, some people are, they begin making concessions, unnecessary concessions. In the past, she says we could rely on the unbiased, fair judiciary to take care of things, but even successful lawsuits hold little weight with the new administration. The difference, quote, the difference now is there's a certain level of defiance on the part of the Trump administration, and that's the problem. Oh yeah, that's the problem. Defiance with the Trump administration, not the 2020 election or all the lawsuits we saw over Biden's presidency.
Yeah, it's just really, really stunning stuff. But this is where we are. And of course, who are the final arbiters of the Constitution, at least under the notion of judicial review? Supreme Court of the United States. Trump appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices. 6 of them are conservative. 2 of them, Alito and Thomas, that were not Trump appointed, have been rather generous. They are MAGA in spirit. In some ways, more MAGA in spirit than the ones Trump did appoint.
I was just going to say, like, everybody makes this argument, but like, oh, well, they're Trump appointed judges. They haven't really helped him out. I mean, they've done their job, but they haven't really helped them out like that. Brandon said, exposing what's happening and that the left would end up helping him prove the point. What point is that? I'm confused. Anyway, said, I'm saying when he announced in 2015, it wasn't a big surprise. There's a clip from him on Oprah saying 30 years ago, talking about tariffs. Right. Okay. And I'm aware of this. What are you trying to tell me? Just that this happened? I'm aware that happened. Yes. Let's go back to our buddy, veteran biker. He's got some other clips from the news.
Welcome back, guys. If you thought the Democrat Party was in panic mode,
well, if you missed it, we saw a little clip that he had for us here. And we'll dive back in. Then he was like, "Oh my God, what a cool picture of Trump." Let's see what Bannon's saying.
like Flynn, and you got the Trumpinator. Steve Bannon knows exactly which buttons to push.
Don't believe the election in 2020 is stolen.
This guy is fully bought in that, oh yeah, he's just trolling the Dems. I'm not there yet, but this guy is fully bought in and he loves it. He loves it. Infom said, freaking Biden ignored rulings from the Supreme Court and said he would continue to. Yep.
We fervently believe that. When President Trump, went back to Mar-a-Lago on January 20th, 2021, he was the longest of long shots to return to the White House. We said that day in our podcast and doubled down, having President Trump's back, that he was coming back not just to win the primary, he would win the White House, and we had to get organized and drive that victory and also start working on all the policies.
Yeah, but at a certain point, if it's like, if you're just hitching your wagon to whatever Trump says, and Trump happens to be the one that, I don't know how to fully articulate this, but it's like the fact that you were saying, oh, Trump's going to win. You didn't know Trump was going to win like that. You just wanted Trump to win. And then it worked out. I don't know. I don't put that much credit into, well, we said it a long time ago. What does that really mean? A lot of people said that Biden was going to win. A lot of people said Kamala was going to win. A lot of people said Trump was going to win. A lot of people said a lot of things. Shout out to whatever. Welcome. So the whole third term talk is ridiculous. I agree. I say, Trump, let your legacy be what it is. Let your legacy be what it is. You came in, you really shook up the system in the best possible way. Then you came back and gave us another term, which we're living in now, which the first few months has been amazing. No reason to expect that the rest of the next 3.5 years wouldn't also be amazing. Why do we need all that time? It's like, at what point does the mama bird let the chicks fly the nest? If you're just living in the nest the whole time, then we can't advance. So I guess what I'm trying to illustrate is that when he talked about being president versus talking about running for a third term, the third term stuff seems to me to be a big troll. I mean, maybe, but clearly they're not just the media. We have Bannon, we have Vance, we have that other guy. What was it, Angle or whatever his name is? People higher up are having more serious discussions about it. So I think it would behoove us to at least game out. Okay, if this is serious, if he is going to do this, what do we think? What do we, how does that work? Instead of just brushing it off. Because if it is just that, then great. Then we don't need to worry about it. But we want to make sure it's something not to worry about before we say we don't need to worry about it.
What's called Project 2025 or...
Guys, do you think this is possible? Is this a reality, or is this Donald Trump just playing them like a fiddle? I think this has legs. And I think with the right amount of time, with the right people in Congress, I think Donald Trump could absolutely play the Democrat Party for exactly what they are, or what.
And again, this guy is just seeing it in the gaming aspect of, oh, our team's got to win, which I think is a silly way to view things. But even putting that forth, you're saying there's going to be 2/3 of Congress that's going to be willing to do this? You don't think there's enough people that are like, you know what? Not only has Trump already done what he needed to do, not only is Trump going to be too old, but I actually do care about the spirit of the Constitution. You don't think that there's enough people that then, if Congress was going against that, they'd be going against their constituency? Not saying Trump can't pull off a long shot. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like this one is very feasible. Now, if you're going to go down the road of overturning the 12th Amendment, that seems more reasonable because you don't have to get so many people involved. Bach said politics should not be a team sport. Exactly. Yep, we are all fellow countrymen. Well said.
What they're showing themselves to be. A bunch of fools. Listen to this. Let me show you this other part of this clip. It's amazing.
Well, a man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
How many of you want to see Donald Trump in 2028? So the whole thing is J.D. Vance runs. Donald Trump runs as his vice president. J.D. Vance rescinds or resigns, and Trump takes over. It's not a
Shout out to Avery. Welcome to the party. So I've been talking to people about this recently. I believe it's unjust if he takes a third term. I also believe it's every American's obligation to fight against dictators. And yeah, I mean, we can talk about the fact that Trump is not some authoritarian, but, you know, keeping power longer than you're supposed to is at least step one. At least step one. And have we ever known Trump to, you know, get a win and then just stop? Clearly not. Clearly not. Just because the dictator is doing things that you like right now doesn't mean that we should swear on a dictator. I'm not calling him a dictator. I'm saying doing that would be the first step in becoming a dictator. Welcome to the party. We also got love to eat pus. Welcome. So I give Trump running again in 2028 at 0%. Well, tell me why, guys. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. Come up and tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you are thinking.
Consecutive presidency as a candidate, as an elected position. And the Democrats can't get out of their own way. Look at this. This is the article right here coming in this morning on Meet the Depressed. Trump won't rule out seeking a third term in the White House, tells NBC News there are methods for doing so. I love it. It's all over the place. Here's News Nation. Trump says he's considering ways to serve as a third term. Is this Trump trolling or is this a reality? Guys, this is trending everywhere on Twitter. March 3rd.
Film said, oh, wait, I mean, we're still talking about how he would have to be elected. Yes? Wait for what? Why are we waiting? Love to eat a devil's advocate. Aren't term limits anti-democratic if the people desire it to be? I would say no, in the sense that that is already an agreed upon, that we agree to what's in the Constitution. And so, for example, we can't just vote slavery back in because that's already in the Constitution. You know what I mean? I kind of see what you're saying, but so yes, it would be a strictly democratic if everybody wanted it and we didn't do it. But good thing America is not a strict democracy. Shout out to Blue Chunks. Welcome to the party. Loving the name. So be down for a third term, but the backlash wouldn't be worth it, in my opinion. Bingo. And I think that's exactly what Michael said, right? And it just it's not worth it. It's not worth it. He's going to be old. He's going to be having done already what we needed him to do. What else do you that's the other question. What is it that you think we need Trump a third term for? What is it that you think needs to be done that can't be done by somebody who's already watched Trump, already bought into MAGA, already bought into MAGA first, already bought into MAGA, already bought into America first? What is it that you think can't be done? And it's not like when he gets out of office, he dies. We saw how much influence Trump had over the last presidency, or not over the presidency itself, but I mean, during that presidency, how much influence Trump still had. So I don't see, like, what is the reason? Why? Well, we like Trump. That's pretty gay. Nick said, yes, it would be entertainment credit, but since we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, it doesn't apply. There you go. Bonk says, just vote gooder. I agree. Avery said, just think, if you're elected as president, you should be given a solid 8 years in office. It's hard to change things in 4 years. It feels our system is designed for failure. I mean, I could see that. 8 years is a long time. I think if we were going to do that, I think one 6-year term would probably be better. But I do agree that, especially with the midterms, 4 years is not a very long time. But that's also kind of the point. It's not necessarily designed for failure. It's designed to not have dramatic shifts. And so the idea is that the wheels of justice, the wheels of the government, are supposed to turn slowly. It's not supposed to be that somebody can get a lot done in their presidency. It's supposed to be a group effort, that the person who is the president, regardless of their party, is there for the best of America. And if this president sets things up well, then the next president, if they're on the other side, theoretically, they should be working towards the same goals. Obviously, that's not really how it works out. But that's more of a cultural problem, in my opinion, than a policy or procedural thing. Make sure a new person doesn't overturn things like Trump did with Biden. Well, thanks, Obama. Mr. Executive Action. But that's my point. Like, Trump is the only one. Trump is the only one who can make sure that a Democrat, we'll just say a win. Trump is because the Democrat bench is so deep. It's so deep. They've got so many amazing people that everybody loves. Or do they? You're telling me that we look at the Democratic bench. Oh no, we need to change the Constitution, otherwise we're screwed. Make it make sense. Yeah, let's go with Don Jr. I'm for it. Let's go. Barron's gonna be of age soon. Not soon, but eventually. And I'm definitely ready for Barron. Did you guys see the clip of, I think it was at the inauguration, when he walked past Biden and he said something? And I saw somebody who was a deaf person, lip reader thing. I forget exactly what it was. Let me see if I can find it while I'm playing this.
Guys, this is trending everywhere on Twitter. March 30th, 2025, Trump expressed to NBC News he's considering the possibility, seeking a third term, stating that he is not joking about the idea. Trump mentioned a lot of people want me to do it, hinted at methods that will allow him to achieve it, including a scenario where J.D. Vance could run for office, then pass the presidency to him. Discussion has sparked range of reactions, with some viewing it as a potential violation of the 22nd Amendment.
So that one would be the 12th Amendment, not the 22nd. Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee. Welcome to the party. So we have a fundamental problem with government not following the law. Another term is not going to fix that. You need billionaires suing government to force it to follow the law. But standing prevents that. Yeah, it's again, like another term is not going to fix any of that. Yeah, that's what. So let's check that out real quick. A little side. And of course, since we are watching a video, we are going to hit the like button because we're not assholes.
Barron whispered. You saw that video where Barron whispered in Joe Biden's ear and destroyed him?
What did he say to him?
think that's great. All right, get to the lip reading.
Like Barron leans way down to old man Joe. and he whispers,
I think Barron,
shorter in person.
Barron has to be the outside of Donald Trump, the president. I think Barron,
Shorter in person. And then he walks away.
Isn't it?
You think he's the most impactful member of the family, Woody, or the most future in him? That's what I was
most
guessing.
popular.
Most
I think
popular.
after Trump himself, I think he's more popular.
Of course, I saw it on TikTok, so let's just go with that. Come on, baby.
Barron Trump had a quick interaction with former President Joe Biden during his father's inauguration, and social media users have been begging to know exactly what went down between them. The 18-year-old New York University student was joined by his mother, Melania Trump, and his elder half-brothers and sisters at the 2025 inauguration of President Donald Trump on Monday in Washington, D.C. After Trump was sworn in as president for a second term, first son Barron was seen shaking hands with Biden, and also departing Vice President Kamala Harris inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. Now, a TikTok video that showcased Barron's short exchange with the 82-year-old former president has completely captivated the internet. In the clip, Barron was seen grabbing Biden's hand before he leaned in and appeared to whisper something in the departing commander-in-chief's ear. While the Delaware native had a smile on his face before his interaction with Barron, after the team made his mystery comment, Biden's happy expression was replaced with a sullen look, and people on the web have been dying to know what he said. On TikTok, where the video has received more than 500,000 views, some users in the comments section made their guesses at what Barron could have possibly told Biden to make him pivot to such a somber expression. "You forgot to pardon yourself," someone else suggested Barron had said to him. A third user wrote, "I don't know what he said, but I bet I want it on a shirt." Not sure what he said.
I don't think we're gonna get it, but yes, somebody who reads lips, I also heard say it's on now, and then he goes over and Melania's like, "Be nice." He's like, "All right." Because you like think his entire childhood, the Democrats have been gunning literally for his father. And you could make you could say whatever you want about the public optics, but he was just a kid. That's his dad. Zippy said standing is a legal concept in the lower courts that prevents anyone suing on behalf of a third party. But like most legal concepts from inferior courts, it has been corrupted. Yeah, right. The AI voice. I hate that shit. But yeah, that's exactly what that's exactly what happened with a lot of the issues there. Let's speed this up, see if they actually
said, but wiped the smirk right off his face. Another person pointed out. Others, however, claimed he was actually leaning in to talk to Harris and not whispering in Biden's ear. The viral video comes after Barron was praised as a true gentleman for shaking hands with Biden and Harris. The gesture of peace also led to social media users deciding that the college freshman was raised well by his mother Melania.
Yeah, all right, this ain't it. All right, let's jump back into this, and I'll keep looking. If anybody else can find it, let me know.
Some viewing it as a potential violation of the 22nd Amendment. You know the key word the Democrat Party is going to use right now: insurrection, dictator, rinse, repeat. That's what they're going to do, guys.
Right, but when you're actually making moves towards that, then you can't refute it. You can't refute it.
I love this. This is Donald Trump at his finest, keeping the Democrats on their heels.
And if he was saying this with knowledge of what, again, if what a goal that we were working towards was, oh, he's making the Democrats think this so that he can do that, or he's distracting them with this while he's doing this, that would be one thing. But you don't have anything. You're just saying it. Just saying things.
Staying on the offense. That's what we've got to do. You stay on the offense on these guys. You don't give them room to breathe. You don't give them room to do anything. And you ride this high while you can. We got 1,100 people in the chat. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe, thumbs up button. There's a members only area that you can join and get into the members only.
To be honest, I don't know if he's got that. Oh, you're talking about Trump. I thought you were talking about this guy. I'm like, I don't know if he's smart enough to do that. So is Trump prime minister not to care when it happens? If he's going through with it, then absolutely. If he's going through with it, then that's absolutely what's happening. And that's what's been happening, you know, throwing out jokes among other jokes that are actually jokes. And then, you know, this saying this with it so that it, you know, kind of throw it out there, see how it feels. And there's enough people that are like, oh, yeah, I like this because they like the concept of it. But like this guy, they're not really thinking through what does that actually mean? What does that actually look like? Biden shook hands with a ghost all the time. Definitely not afraid.
Discord. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to help me continue to do what we do. There's a link at the top of the chat. You just join that. You can become a MAGA minion. You can become whatever you want in the chat here, because this right there is Greg Gutfeld talking about the interview that Brett Vanilla Toast Bear did with Elon Musk.
Did the Doge dudes, Greg, shatter the Democrat narrative?
I have to hand it to Brett Baer and Special Report. That's like the best thing I've ever seen on this network. It sounds like an exaggeration, but sorry, Jesse.
Seriously.
Yeah, Waters broke.
I love Greg Gutfeld. I love Jesse Waters. There are a couple of hosts on there that I like.
Wait a minute, bro. You just said that Brett Baer, well, you gave him some shitty nickname, and you go to Greg Gutfeld. Greg Gutfeld said, "Shout out to Brett Baer. That's the best thing we've ever seen." And the first thing you have to say is, "Oh, I love Greg Gutfeld." This is the sycophantry. What is the noun version? But this is a sycophant. Like he just said. What did he just say?
Did the Doge
Vanilla Toast Bear did with?
Yeah, he's calling him Brett Vanilla Toast Bear. And then as soon as Greg Gutfeld says, "Oh, he's great," yeah, I love it.
With Elon Musk.
It sounds like an exaggeration, but sorry, Jesse.
Seriously.
Yeah, Waters broke.
I love Greg Gutfeld. I love Jesse Waters. There are a couple of hosts on there that I like. Brett Baer is not one of them, but he did a damn good job.
I jumped the gun. Fair enough.
Of the interview with the Doge guys. And the Doge interview with Elon and his team of mathematician wizards did a great job of quelling the lies that the Democrat Party is trying to push, that your Social Security is going to get cut, that all of these things are going to get cut. Well, guess what? It's not. It's not. I got a little clip here I need to show you, and this is very, very prophetic. Okay, this falls right in line with what exactly is happening in DC, and I believe more importantly happening around the United States.
How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive. Yeah. I want them to start saying,
how?
I wonder how this guy feels about the Jews. It'd be not surprising at all that he's be like, yeah, see, you shouldn't be, be worried about what people are saying and then get offended when you're talking about anything that has to do with Israel. Now, I'm no fan of Israel, but that's Israel, not the Jewish people.
With or like, I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive. Yeah. I want them to start saying,
how arrogant are you to go through life with no one saying something that offends you? It's time to get offended. It is time to offend the left. It is time to take the battle to them and keep the game going. There are deportation flights that are leaving. Well, actually, they've already landed in El Salvador this morning. Donald Trump is openly violating Judge Boasberg, this judge that believes that they can, or that he can, subvert justice. This is a clip from Fox News. This is absolutely stunning. The peek behind the curtain, peek behind the steel bars that you're going to get. And I would love to know, before I play this, what Democrat would you like to see deported and put into prison in El Salvador? Nancy Pelosi?
This is again, what? Like, we all, maybe not Vox, but we all hate a Democrat politician. You want them to be sent to a prison in El Salvador because they don't agree with you? Okay, dude.
Adam Schiff, Mark Milley, what person, doesn't even have to be a Democrat, who would you like to see perp walked down to El Salvador?
Our next guest got a look inside the El Salvadoran prison where those alleged gang members are being held. YouTube content creator Nick Shirley joins us now. Nick, first of all, how did you get permission to get into the prison? What made you want to go, and what was the process?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a fascinating building, and very few people have ever been in.
So this is a YouTuber by the name of Nick Shirley that went to El Salvador.
Is he done with the? Is he going to be on this? No, I don't really care about that.
50% approval rating. The Democrat Party fails once again. Here we go. Here's another one. NBC's Kristen Welker. Trump is very angry and pissed off at Putin. Apparently, the peace talks between Putin, Zelensky, Trump have fallen apart. NBC is obviously spinning more lies to just incite what I would call Trump derangement syndrome at another level.
All right.
I
think he's going to play the thing again in case you missed it before.
This clip here, this is what started it all. Donald Trump went on Meet the Depressed. We haven't got audio of this phone call, so this all could be a lie by NBC. How many of you believe that NBC lies on a daily basis? I do. Kristen Welker's nose should be about 17 feet long. Is this Donald Trump playing the...
Come on, bro. Really? Really? You're saying that they just completely fabricated this? Come on, bro.
Democrat Party and playing the liberal news media for a game? Probably. Check this out.
President Trump called me this morning. We discussed a range of topics, including the possibility of him serving a third term. He's joked about it.
I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure.
But these were his most extensive comments yet. He told me he's not joking. He said there are methods by which you could do it, but he said it's far too early to think about it. He said he's focused on his current job. At the same time, I did press him on those methods. There's been some discussion about the possibility of Vice President J.D. Vance running perhaps at the top of the ticket with President Trump running in the number 2 slot and then swapping if they were to win. President Trump telling me that is a method. He said there are other methods. I asked if he could give me details, and he said flatly, no. Now, President Trump's allies have said that they are seriously looking at this.
We're working on there. We're not prepared to talk about it publicly, but in a couple of months, I think we will be.
Here's what you need to know, though. It is incredibly complicated to change the Constitution. Serving a third term is prohibited by the Constitution.
How many liberal judges are freaking out right now? How many liberal judges are ready to pounce on this?
So this is something that would be far out of reach by any measure. And again, President Trump insisting for right now, he's focused on his current job.
His current job is trolling the left.
No, his current job is running the goddamn country. And it's people like that dude who make it, like I said, a team sport. That is the reason that this is even a story. Shout out to Bill Bradley. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Said, can't be VP if you had 2 terms of as POTUS. You could be Speaker of the House, who is 3rd in line, though. Yeah. So someone hit the fucking link. Come on and let's chat about this. Well, I mean, I want to know why you guys think that at this point, why you still think it's all just completely a joke. Why would it be something that what is the hook? Like, what is the end game? I think Donald Trump just being Donald Trump already triggers the left enough. He's overhauled all of the things that they hate. I don't see a reason. The other question is, why do we even need the 3rd term? What is it that needs to be done that can't be done by anybody else who already understands MAGA, who already understands America First, and doesn't create TDS? Third question is, how is that situation that I just said not better than a Trump 3rd term? It seems to me the ideal situation is somebody like a J.D. Vance or Trump Jr. or whoever goes in, a younger person, fresh face, doesn't have all the baggage. Maybe J.D. even has too much baggage from being VP right now. But whoever it is, they go in, they understand. Like, it's not, MAGA is not complicated. America First is not complicated. And then again, it's not like Trump's going to die. Whatever you need him for, just fucking call him and be like, hey, this is going on. What should I do? And then do it. Why do we need another term? I don't get it. Somebody make it make sense. Well, I like to think that most people are pretty normal. YouTube just makes you want to touch grass from time to time. Oh, yeah. Well, talk to Twitter. Yikes. Aaron said, let's say he can run for a 3rd term. How ethical and trustworthy would it be for Vance to get elected, then suddenly flip the ticket so that Trump becomes president? So even though according to the 22nd Amendment, it does say elected, the 12th Amendment says that if you've been if you're not eligible to run for president, you're not eligible to run for VP as well. So they would have to overturn that. At that point, then legally it would be fine. Ethically, I don't necessarily see an issue with it on its own. But like we were talking about before, that's how dictators get started. So if you were going to, and let's not forget, I know this is fucking trite, I know this is cliche, but it is relevant that Hitler was elected. A lot of a lot of people who have become dictators were elected. This is how it happens. They were liked. It's not like they were evil people at the time. Well, they were, you know what I mean? Not like they were doing all this evil stuff, at least in the eyes of the people that were voting. People were down for this. And then shit unraveled. So ethically and trustworthy wise, zero, none. Also, when the establishment loses all trust, people stop caring about the establishment rules for succession. Also, it's not a joke. He's going to look for a third term. Right-wing populism is almost always a platform for an authoritarian. If Trump somehow improves things, he will get support and stay on. That again, that doesn't make. I mean, it makes sense in the way that people think. But it doesn't make sense. If he's doing so well, then it means the country will be in a better place where we don't need somebody as drastic as Trump. If he doesn't do well, then I guess the argument can be made that we need a Trump. But if he's not doing well, then why would we vote for him again? So in any way you split it, it doesn't make sense to risk this much negative PR, for lack of a better term, on the Republican Party. From 2015, I would cringe at the word Republican or conservative or something like that. I still kind of cringe at GOP and that stuff, but that's another discussion. But this is now the cool party, the party of the working class, the party of the middle class. Why would we want to give that up? Why would you want to give that up? Because it's not even a guarantee that he would win. So imagine we go through all of this. We overturn the 12th Amendment. Then we spend all this money going. But people are at least principled enough that between the people who have always hated Trump and the people who are like, you know what, this is just not how things are supposed to go. And then let's say, potentially, because we're all speculating, let's say that they do actually put somebody up on the left who has support. Whether it is a Gavin Newsom who doesn't deserve this support, we'll get it anyway, or some no-name person that we don't really know, it's coming out of the woodwork and is actually, pretty common sense. Compared to the guy who's running for a third term, there's a lot of people who are not like hardcore Trump MAGA who voted for Trump in 2024. Thinking that you automatically have their votes for Trump again is not a foregone conclusion. It doesn't make sense. You're hitting on 17. Your film said, what? I'm 5 is the right. I'm 5 in 5 in. Guys, spell check. Come on. Darren said, look, I hate Trump, but why do we need him for the third term? Because the next president will completely destroy what he did. Why would you think that? Let's say it's JD Vance. Why would we think that JD Vance is going to destroy everything that Trump and JD Vance did? If it's Don Jr., why would we think Don Jr. would destroy? Like, the point of this side of it is that, yes, of course we want Trumpian politics. We want that in office. We want that. That's not up for question. So in order to win without any of this third term talk, you have to be a MAGA president if you're on the right. So, and then either way, the Democrats are looking to do this anyway. So him having a third term doesn't solve this issue, because any old person could not overturn all the things that we all like about what Trump has done. Nixon, coming from a place most people were Republicans, I'd have to say we've always been totally against any form of authoritarianism. Right, but I think Bill is talking more broadly historically, not like in terms of, American politics. Zippy said, question, well, come up and ask it then. Given how fast information flows these days, how fast information flows these days, and how fast, guys. And next, I'm not reading any more typos. If you have a typo, I'm just skipping it. And how fast the market changes due to market logistics. Would it make sense to limit the terms to 4, i.e., double it? The world has changed greatly. One way or the other, that's a different conversation than what we're having. Maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting conversation to have. But that's a completely different conversation than whether Trump should be exalted for pushing for a third term. So when you don't trust the establishment, you get either a left-wing populist movement that gives the people what they want, or a right-wing populist movement that leads to an authoritarian, generally. Well, that's why we don't. That's why we need to move in the correct direction, and we've been moving in the correct direction. But it's like, I don't know, like the directions say to take a left in 4 miles. So even though we're moving in the right direction, if you don't take that turn, you might be driving off a fucking cliff. 2 terms was a gentleman's agreement started by George Washington. It was observed but not codified until FDR. Yep. What? Anybody said the Democrat FDR broke the gentleman's rule and tried to be a dictator. Yeah, that's true. He's a Democrat. Lord Shadowfrost, welcome. So let's say he is trolling. What could possibly be the point? What would be the most likely reaction of his detractors? That's what I'm saying. Like, what we don't need a troll this big. There's no point. Just do what you're already doing. Deport all the fucking people who don't belong here. Cut all the Doge stuff. That's already triggering the fuck out of everybody. I think it's silly to just be like, yeah, you just troll. I think that's a naive mindset. And I think that is, just what you want to happen. It's what I want. I want it to be a troll. I want it to be something that he's not taking seriously. But I don't think that that's what we're seeing right now. Well said indeed. FDR wanted to stack the courts and do all kinds of things that would look authoritarian by today's standards. I think what everybody's having an issue with, Bill, is that you're saying that the left-wing authoritarianism will give people what they want, but the right-wing populism will be authoritarian, as if to say we're already down that road, that we've already created an authoritarian. I think that's what people are saying. Zippy said, left-right is backwards logic, as modern liberalism has made. Nope. Lord Shadowfrost said, in their likely fit of rage and denouncing him as dictator, could they possibly focus on any other play, like derail his agenda? I mean, it makes sense the other way around, that if there's something that is, going to be unpopular with the left, or just unpopular in general, that he's doing, then this story could be, if he's signing some executive orders that everybody's not going to be happy with, this would be the type of thing to use as a distraction. Maybe it's something that the Democrats will really just hate and will love, but he needs time. Like, okay, maybe, but I need to see something before I'm willing to just be like, okay, yeah, nope, it's a troll. I really do not know. Bog said, never mind his third term. Can we talk about Greenland? Well, when it becomes more than a joke, then absolutely. But right now, it's just kind of talking. Well, so we are in an anti-establishment movement, which path we walk is yet to be determined. So it does kind of sound like you're saying that we're at the crossroads of authoritarianism. Would you disagree with that? Because classical liberalism is anti-collectivist and pro-individual. Classical liberalism is neither left or right. Yeah, but I mean, we always talk about as relative. So, when we have the Overton window, even the far right, maybe not the far, but even the far right ends of the Overton window are going to fall in classical liberalism. That's still right compared to further left. I mean, I totally with you on the terms that populism, authoritarianism, or liberty and authoritarianism is a much cleaner way to see these things. But left and right still does make sense, just not as much as it did 10 years ago. Lord said, like you, I'm hoping it's a troll and a distraction. Agreed. Nick said, me too. They'll say we are at a crossroads. The establishment has lost all trust. Will power be restored to the people, to the voters? We will have to see. But I don't see how that is necessarily, like, I agree with you. Well, I forget if you said it, but I agree with the point that, taking more power than you're supposed to get. That is the first step to being a dictator. But I don't see being a dictator and authoritarianism. They're very closely linked, but they're not the same thing. So theoretically, you could be a benevolent dictator for a reason. Dictator just means that you're holding on to the power and you're dictating what's going on. Authoritarianism is more about how you enact that power. So I don't see that even if we were to go down that road and Trump is president for a third term, I don't see authoritarianism specifically being as relevant of an issue. I think that we would it would definitely set a precedent, but I don't necessarily think that it would set a precedent of changing the types of policies that we have so drastically that we're now in an authoritarian country. Nobody's at the link, huh? Left and right is poisonous thinking. Modern liberalism has made people ignore collectivism. Classical liberalism died in the early 1900s. But then everything you just said about left and right not being relevant because of classical liberalism doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Where are we? All right. Well, I mean, if nobody's going to come up, then I guess we can leave it there. I mean, there is definitely a lot to look out for, and in terms of how this is going to go, if this is something serious, if this is something that is going to become an issue, or if it's just more of Trump being Trump. It's really hard to tell at this point. But like I said, it doesn't seem as lighthearted as a lot of the other things that the left has freaked out over. And we all knew that it was just Trump being Trump. This just seems different. Steven said, Poland are the winners of the French Revolution. Hey, shout out to Matthew King. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So I always fall back on the idea, would I want a politician I don't like having the same power? Exactly. We're setting a precedent, the exact same thing we said about Biden packing the courts, that not only was it just bad because it wasn't good for our politics, it was bad in general. It was bad for the inner workings of America. Yeah. I do not want any president sitting for 3 terms without an act of Congress first. Well, I mean, that is what they're pushing for, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't want it. And, it certainly could be with worse presidents. But if it happens, then there's no saying that it won't happen with worse presidents. So, all right, I guess, I guess if you guys don't want to come up, then I will leave it there. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Very much appreciate you guys. Don't forget to check out TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch. We got shirts, we got hoodies, we got stickers and mugs and all that good stuff at TheIndianJesus.com. We also have the free Discord server that Nick just dropped the link for. Like I said, it is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a good time, and it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video and hit the join button, or I think it's one of the three dots somewhere. I gotta figure out how to do it on mobile, but anyway, or you can click the link to join. It gives you not only members only streams and all that good stuff here on YouTube, but it opens up the full Discord server. So there is the free chat. Like I said, we're always in there hanging out, having a good time. But we also have plenty of other channels, including the voice channel, where as soon as we are done with the typical Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams, if you didn't know, I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, down in the studio. This one's just from the bedroom. But every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that is after every one of those streams, we go in for an after party. So we don't have to worry about any YouTube censors or anything like that. And I usually don't drop the link like this. But you guys are not stuck behind your keyboards. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. Hey, a shout out to Lord Shadowfrost with a $10. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. Of course, you guys know every donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. He is loving it. Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, I got a new job. Just busting tables right now. I got to work my way up. I'm still working my other job and still doing this. So I only work like 1 to 2 days a week there, but work my way up to server. They're opening a new bar in a couple months. So hopefully I'll be a bartender in a few months. But right now, a little bit of grunt work, but everybody's got to work their way up, right? That is the way to go. But hopefully the dog training just picks back up. That was the big issue. It's just that I wasn't getting enough dog training clients. So if that picks up, then I could just go back to exactly what I was doing. Or if dog training doesn't pick up and I'm getting moved into the bar even quicker at the restaurant, then leave myself some options. There you go. Common sense. That's all we need here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Once again, guys, this is my co-host Morty, and I'm your host Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, thank you so very much for hanging out. Big shout out to Dr. Evil Genius from the Talking Shit podcast for sponsoring the whole stream. Guys, definitely go check them out. Once again, I very, very, very much appreciate it. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.